Hi everyone, marhaba. Welcome to the 15th Annual International Disability Law Summer School, which is taking place from the 17th of June until 21st of June. Whether you're joining us in person or online from different corners of the world, it is truly a pleasure to have you with us today. My name is Amanie, and if you're curious about my name, it means wishes and hopes in Arabic. I'm beyond thrilled to be here. Interesting fact, that is my first time ever attending the summer school, and while attending for the first time, I'm co-directing as well. So in case it's your first time or second or third attending and you may feel overwhelmed or intimidated, we're in the same boat. Just remember me, you'll feel better, I promise. And I'm super lucky to work along Professor Eleanor and Emma and a whole great super team at Disability Center. I have been in disability studies field not long time ago. Navigating life as a disabled Palestinian woman brought me here, and it's been very rewarding. Before we delve into this year's theme, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the immense suffering of disabled people in Palestine, Gaza, men, women, and children as the Israel genocide continues. Many persons with disabilities were and are still unable to evacuate on time, finding themselves trapped under the rubble. Many others face forced displacement without access to essential support systems like electricity, water, food, and healthcare, and devastating need to leave behind essential items like wheelchairs, crutches, hearing aids, assistive devices, and cherished belongings. Many have lost personal carers and family support, with destruction of hospitals and healthcare centers compounding their plight. At least 10,000 Palestinians have become disabled. I also want to honor the resilience and the contribution of Palestinian disability rights activists and professionals who have tirelessly worked to advance the rights of persons with disabilities in Palestine. Tragically, many of these champions have been killed. Also, it is crucial to recognize that persons with disabilities are also affected by conflict in regions like Sudan and Congo. Their experiences of displacement, violence, and lack of access to essential services must be acknowledged and addressed as part of the broader struggle for disability justice. So the theme for this year, as you all may be aware, is gender and disability justice. At a global level, pushback against the rights of women, girls, and gender minority people are rooted in the same soil and produce the same oppressions that disabled people face, including restriction on access to justice, legal capacity, independent living, healthcare, and reproductive rights, barriers to education and employment, increased risk to violence, exploitation, and marginalization in public debate. These experiences are amplified when individuals hold multiple marginalized identities. To address these challenges, we need to create solidarity within social movement, hold decision makers accountable, and find new pathways to enforce our collective rights. The 15th International Disability Law Summer School will explore these challenges by centering the voices of disabled activists and disability rights researchers from around the globe. We will provide space to discuss the institutional and societal changes needed to make the promises of the United Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities a reality, and explore disability justice-informed practices that offer potential for change. Our hope from this week and this team is to have an important conversation and reflect on disabled people's experiences within the framework of gender and disability in different settings. Each year, we aim to bring a fresh perspective to the field of disability law by selecting a theme that addresses current and pressing issues. This approach not only equips participants with cutting-edge knowledge, but also fosters a continuous and dynamic conversation that extends beyond this event. Our goal is to inspire you to integrate this discussion into your everyday work and to collaborate with others to drive meaningful and super necessary change. We have excellent panels listed for this week, speakers from different parts of the world who will address different topics, ranging from Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and Convention on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women in Relation to Disability and Gender, monitoring human rights obligations, legal capacity, access to justice, independent living, reproductive justice, right to health including gender-affirming care, gender-based violence, working on the fringes of movement, solidarity and cross-movement organizing, and to participation in public and political life. This week will also feature poster presentation, moot court competition, and craftsism, which my colleague Emma will be speaking more about it. This year, and for the very first time, we invited participants to submit abstract and apply for scholarship to attend our summer school. The response was overwhelming, with numerous applications brimming with excellent ideas and profound insights. Throughout the week, we will have the pleasure of hearing from our selected participants who will present their research and perspective. Their participation indeed enriches our program and underscores the importance of diverse voices in shaping the future of gender and disability justice. Our program is designed to be both informative and transformative, as we will delve into the intersection of gender disability, exploring how these dynamics impact legal framework, policy development, and societal attitudes. We're privileged to have a distinguished lineup of speakers and experts who share their expertise and experiences, providing valuable insight into the challenges and opportunities within this field. We encourage you to actively engage with the sessions, ask questions, reach out, and participate in discussions. Your input is invaluable, and we believe that exchange of ideas and experiences will foster a richer understanding and fruitful dialogue. We also hope that the connections that you make here will extend beyond this week, creating a network of advocates and professionals dedicated to advancing gender and disability justice. So let us seize this opportunity to learn, share, and inspire each other as we work toward a future where gender and disability justice are not just aspirations, but realities. Nothing about us without us. Handing over the mic to Emma, who will explain a little bit more about craftism. Thank you. Shukran.
Good morning. I'm not sure whether to put the glasses on or not. I'm struggling with steam and all sorts of things. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about craftivism. So this is something that's become a bit of a tradition here at summer school. So if you, can I move on this? Sorry. Yeah, thanks. So some of you will automatically know what it is. Craftivism, it's the mix of crafting and activism. It's any kind of crafting technique like sewing, embroidery, crochet, any kind of a handcraft like that. Thank you. I'm using it to push forward the activism that we do around whatever our chosen area of concern is. Here we're looking at it, of course, from a disability rights perspective. Betsy Greer is one of the first people who actually wrote down what craftivism is, but it's got a much older history than that. Her main quote about it is, craftivism is a way of looking at life, where voicing opinions through creativity makes your voice stronger, your compassion deeper, and your quest for justice more infinite. Ooh, I'm getting too enthusiastic with the buttons now. So I've got a few examples of how it's been used. Excuse my pronunciation. The apieras, the narrative quilt squares sewn by Chilean women protesting the injustices of the Pinochet regime, are an earlier example of this, where they would make these quilts telling the stories of the families and of their family members who had been disappeared under the regime, trying to record this, and the sessions that they would have where mothers would come together, tell these stories and put them down in this quilt form. And yet from the outside it would look quite innocuous, it would just be a quilting circle, but it was much more than that. It was about recording, making sure that these histories weren't lost. The AIDS Memorial Quilt is another example of how, again, families came together and created a quilt that became so huge it could no longer be ignored by those in power. So famously, the Reagans tried to ignore this problem in the 80s as much as possible, but by spreading the sheets out in Washington, it could no longer be ignored. It became a story of its own. And yeah, there have been lots of examples of crafting as activism. Gandhi, even making their own cotton, spinning cotton. The votes for women sashes for suffragettes, using the colours that they'd chosen to represent their cause. Lots of different, the Craftivist Collective have done lots of work on this. Guerrilla craftivism, where they create these mini banners that are little items of beauty that they just leave out into the world and are found, and they attract people in to see what is the message. Amnesty ran one on reproductive rights, where people would knit little uteruses and send them off to en masse to decision makers who would have all of these beautiful little cushioned uteruses coming in their post boxes. And I'm including one of our own here from the 2018 referendum to repeal the law on abortion. This was my own group, Tip for Choice. We created a banner and hung it from one of the iconic landmarks in Ireland, and got quite a lot of attention for that. It was great. And also individual campaigns for justice. Some of you may be aware of the Justice for LB campaign. So Conor Sparrowhawk was a young man who died in an assessment and treatment unit in the NHS in the UK. Died a preventable death, and it was tried to be covered up and excused. But many friends and family came together and they did 107 days of activism. A lot of that included elements of craftivism, where they created banners and messages and tried to raise awareness around the death of this boy. Sorry, he's called LB. His name online was the Laughing Boy, and he was known for short as LB. So this year, our working title for the piece that we're going to make together is Take to the Streets. Actually, it's got two names. It's got Take to the Streets. It's also been given the name Dissident Bodies. So we can decide on that collaboratively during the week what it's going to be called. And the inspiration for it is the protests and direct actions of disabled groups such as the 504 sit-in, the Disabled People's Direct Action Network, DAN. They've done the picture here, on the far left, is a protest at Harrods in the UK, where they arrived en masse to protest the inaccessibility of the shopping centre of Harrods. The group in the middle is part of the Global Call to Action on Poverty, where a lot of disabled women have been involved, particularly in Kenya and other African countries, including street protests. And the first picture there is from the 504 sit-in with Judy Human in there. Can't leave her out of these things. So before we go on to kind of our idea for this week, I'd like to introduce Shar. So Shar Nolan. Would you like to come up, Shar? Shar is going to be our facilitator in the craftivism room. So this is room G006 on the ground floor. So this is Shar.
Hello.
I'm not sure, do you want to briefly describe these are examples? I just want to describe one of these first, because our inspiration was these street protests, but also this picture on the bottom. It's 3 paper dolls created by Eleanor's daughter at last year's craftivism event. And they were just so pretty and there was so much joy in them. I was wondering, how can we capture some of that? And this is Evelyn and her 2 friends, Evelyn Rose and her 2 friends. So this is part of this year's project. We're going to try and get you to create a version of yourself or somebody who you admire. And this person is going to become part of a collaborative project where we create a street protest with all of us in it. Okay? So I'll give you over to Shar for a minute.
Hi there, my name is Shar, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm going to be your facilitator for the craftivism room. Essentially, we're going to be making these wonderful collaborative little pieces to add together to this activist kind of collage. There's a little bit more on how we're visualizing it to come together down at the craftivism room. But of course, we want your ideas as well. So if you have an idea or if you think there's something that's particularly missing, please don't hesitate to let us know. And yeah, I'll be the person that will be there for the next couple of days. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, any tools that would make this a little bit more accessible to you, just let me know. Or if you just want to come down and say hi. So that's me.
Thank you. And I'll just add a little bit more to that. In terms of accessibility, we have been running this a while. We know we can't ever have it fully accessible. So whatever you need to help you do this, just let us know. If there's something that we can bring in to make it more accessible for you, if you want somebody to sit with you and show how other people have done it in previous years, Annie, we just bring our imagination to this. It's not just about making, and this is probably what relates back to both what Eleanor and Amanie have said about breaking down walls, about not being isolated, about coming together in love. This room is always a special place at summer school where people sit down, have conversations. We start these conversations that maybe are a little bit harder to start when we don't know each other, if we have a mutual piece of work that we're collaborating on. And that's the idea of it. It's to facilitate us coming together, having conversations. On the topic of conversations as well, just as an aside, we also have another room that's happening at summer school this year. We have been, excuse me, kindly offered by David Lipovsky, one of our attendees, who is there's David, sorry, in the blue top, hand up. David, put your hand up again, just so people can see who you are. Yeah, there he is. So David is a grassroots organizer from Canada and has 40 years experience. He has recently published a memoir, which is available free. We will share that for you in the Discord. And David is open to having conversations with anyone about how to successfully organise at a grassroots level. So we'll have, if anybody's interested in those conversations or wants to meet up, I can't remember which room it was. I think it's G008 we have assigned. I will... Just find me. You'll just find him. Yeah, you'll find him. Okay, so again, that's another space where if you want to start these conversations with each other about what we can learn from each other, just reach out to each other. That's the whole point of summer school. We come together, we're all on the same track, and we try to give each other as many opportunities as possible to engage. Okay, that's my piece for today. I look forward to engaging with you all during the week.